I woke up with nothing but a broken raft when I woke up. The only thing left in my hands was a swollen piece of wood that had been soaked through by seawater. Cold waves crashed against the broken raft. Water kept pouring in through the cracks. And I knelt on the few remaining pieces of wood, pressing down on the edges with all my strength, desperately trying to keep myself from sinking. Then a cold mechanical voice echoed beside my ears. Welcome to the ocean survival world. All survivors will begin with the lowest level resources. Search for supplies and upgrade your survival territory. Those who fail will sink to the bottom of the ocean forever. The voice disappeared. I stared at the floating holographic screen in front of me, frozen for several seconds. My name was Shinjin. Just 1 hour ago, I had still been sitting in a company meeting room, handling a major project. The marriage crisis that had lasted for half a year had finally exploded. My wife, Suwaning, stood in front of me holding a divorce agreement. Her voice was cold. Shinjin, there's no love left between us. You only know how to work every day. You never cared about what I wanted. I looked past her shoulder. There stood the man behind her, Joe Kai, my former business partner, the man who once called me his brother. He stood there with a complicated expression, but he didn't say a single word. At that moment, I understood everything. 6 years of marriage, 3 years of partnership. Everything had become a joke overnight. I signed the divorce agreement, then I turned and walked away. But the moment I stepped out of the building, a sudden disaster struck. The sky split open with a massive crack. The entire city fell into chaos. And when I opened my eyes again, I had arrived in this strange ocean world. Others had complete rafts. Some had toolboxes. Some had even received small boats right from the beginning. But me? I only had a broken raft that was about to fall apart. A holographic screen appeared before my eyes. Special survivor detected. Ocean civilization system successfully bound. My eyes narrowed. A system? This kind of thing appeared countless times in novels. But when it actually happened to me, I felt no excitement, only caution. Because I knew one thing clearly. Having a system didn't mean this world was safe. One wrong decision, and I would still die. The holographic screen slowly expanded. Beginner rewards issued. Basic toolbox. Raft repair blueprint. Ocean resource detection ability. I didn't immediately open the rewards. Instead, I looked around first. This was a habit I had developed after years of surviving in the business world. Analyze the situation, then take action. The ocean surface was covered with floating debris, plastic barrels, wooden crates, broken equipment. Not far from me floated a red supply box. I was about to row toward it when a voice suddenly came from a distance. Brother, help me! I turned my head. A man was lying on a wooden board, desperately waving at me. His raft had completely broken apart. Only a rope connected several pieces of floating wood together. I didn't approach immediately. The man became anxious. Brother, I really can't hold on anymore. Save my life. And I swear I'll repay you. I looked at him. What's your name? Han Fo, he answered quickly, then added, I used to be a sailor. I worked in ocean transportation. Hearing that, I slightly changed my mind. In this world, experience was more valuable than supplies. I threw him a rope. Han Fo grabbed it and used all his strength to climb onto my raft. He collapsed onto the wooden boards, breathing heavily. After a while, he looked at me. Do you know where this place is? Yes. You're not afraid? I looked at the endless ocean ahead. Fear is useless. If we want to survive, the first thing we need to do is understand the rules. Han Feng fell silent. The way he looked at me began to change. What did you do before this? Just an ordinary company employee. An ordinary employee can stay this calm? I didn't answer. Many people believe that extreme situations revealed a person's true ability. That wasn't completely true. Real danger didn't reveal who someone was. It forced them to discover who they could become. I opened the basic toolbox. Inside were only a few simple items. A hammer, a knife, and some basic materials. For most people, this would have been disappointing. But I understood something. The most valuable thing was never the tool itself. It was the person who knew how to use it. I picked up the raft repair blueprint. The next second, a notification appeared. Repairing the basic raft requires wood. Available resources detected nearby. I closed my eyes. The ocean resource detection ability activated. Soon, several vague directions appeared in my mind. Left side, floating supplies. Front, a resource crate. Right side, danger zone. I opened my eyes. Han Feng, get ready. He looked at me. Ready for what? Finding resources? He glanced at the broken raft beneath our feet. With this? With this. Han Feng laughed. Young man, you're pretty brave. This place could be dangerous at any moment. I looked at him. That's exactly why we need to move. Staying here means waiting for death. Han Feng didn't argue anymore. He began helping me organize the tools. 2 hours later, we successfully found our first resource crate. Inside were wood, fresh water, and some compressed food. Han Feng grabbed the bottle of water. His hands were trembling with excitement. The things here are worth more than gold. I nodded. Then I opened the system interface. The resource count increased. A new notification appeared. Upgrade requirements fulfilled. Basic raft can now be strengthened. I looked at the broken wooden boards beneath my feet. This was everything I had in this world. And it was also the starting point of changing my fate. I pressed confirm. The raft began to transform. The loose wooden boards slowly became reinforced. The area expanded. Simple railings appeared around the edges. It was still crude, but it had changed. It was no longer a piece of wood that could sink at any moment. It had become a small platform capable of carrying human life. Han Feng stared at the transformation. For a long time, he said nothing. Shinjin. Yeah? Have you ever thought about what this world will eventually become? I looked at the ocean. In the distance, countless survivors were struggling on floating debris. Some people fought over half a bottle of water. Some risked their lives for a single supply box. Everyone was only thinking about surviving today. But I was already thinking about tomorrow. I don't know what the end will look like. But I know one thing. If someone can build their own world starting from a broken raft, why can't that person be me? Han Feng looked at me. For the first time, he showed a serious expression. Looks like I chose the right person to follow. At that moment, the global communication channel suddenly opened. Countless messages flooded the screen. Someone discovered a large resource island. Someone obtained an advanced ship. Pirates have appeared. They're attacking survivors and stealing their supplies. Then a striking red message appeared. The Ocean Overlord Alliance has issued a declaration. All independent survivors must submit 30% of their resources. Those who refuse will bear the consequences. Han Feng's expression changed. Zhao Tianxiong. I've heard of him. He used to control a powerful force on the sea. He won't allow anyone else to grow. I stared at the message. The corner of my mouth slowly lifted. When I first arrived here, everyone saw me as a weak survivor struggling on a broken raft. They didn't know. The most dangerous people were often the ones who began accumulating power when they appeared the weakest. My raft was still small. My resources were still limited. But from this moment on, I had already made a decision. I would make this ocean remember my name. Shinjin, the man who started with a broken raft. One day, I would stand at the front of the strongest ship, and force this entire ocean world to change its rules. 3 hours after Zhao Tianxiong released his announcement, I received a private message. Brother, I suggest you know your place. Hand over your resources, and I can let you join my team. Otherwise, a small raft like yours won't survive 3 days. The sender was Zhao Tianxiong himself. I stared at the message. I didn't reply immediately. Han Feng sat beside me, his expression serious. He's targeting you. I closed the message. Why? Han Feng pointed at my raft. Because you upgraded too quickly. When this world first started, everyone was almost the same. Many people are still fighting over a mouthful of water. But your raft has already been strengthened. People like Zhao Tianxiong fear anyone who escapes their control. I lowered my head and looked at the raft beneath us. After the first upgrade, the raft's size had doubled. It was still far from being a real ship, but at least now we had basic living space. A simple storage area had appeared. The tools finally had a place to be organized. For other survivors, this was already an unimaginable improvement. But I knew clearly, this was only the beginning. The cruelest part of this world was that resources would never be enough. Stopping meant falling behind. I opened the system interface. Current status: basic raft. Resources: wood, fresh water, food. Upgrade requirements: wood, metal materials, energy core. I frowned. The first two were easy to understand. But what was an energy core? At that moment, the system notification appeared. Low-level energy fragments detected nearby. Activate location tracking? I immediately confirmed. The next second, a direction marker appeared in my vision. Distance: far. Danger level: unknown. Han Feng noticed my expression. Did you find something? Yes. What? Energy. Han Feng froze. Are you sure? The system told me. He was silent for a moment. Then we have to go. If you want to continue upgrading the raft, energy will definitely be the key. I nodded. But I didn't move immediately, because I noticed something else. The discussion about Zhao Tianxiong in the global channel was increasing rapidly. Many survivors began complaining. Why should he take our resources? He's just stealing from everyone. Is there anyone who can unite against him? But nobody actually stepped forward. The reason was simple. Everyone was afraid. Without strength, resistance was nothing more than suicide. I closed the channel. Han Feng. Yeah? We need a plan. What kind of plan? Not just surviving one more day. I looked toward the endless ocean. I want to build a Rio base. Han Feng stared at me. You want to become someone like Zhao Tianxiong? I shook my head. Zhao Tianxiong survives by taking from others. I survive by creating. Those are completely different paths. Han Feng looked at me. After a long silence, he smiled. You really are an interesting guy. We began moving, following the direction provided by the system. We pushed the raft forward. The speed was extremely slow. There was no engine. We could only rely on simple wooden paddles. But along the way, I continued collecting floating resources. Plastic, wood, broken machine parts. Anything the system identified as valuable. I collected. 3 hours later, we encountered our first problem. A damaged small boat was floating on the ocean's surface. From the outside, it looked like there might be supplies inside. Han Feng was about to move closer when I suddenly reached out and stopped him. Wait. He looked confused. What's wrong? I stared at the abandoned boat. It's too quiet. Han Feng froze. Then his expression changed. He picked up the telescope. A few seconds later, he lowered his voice. There's someone there. Behind the small boat. A man suddenly stood up. He was holding a weapon. Brother, don't be nervous. I mean no harm. I didn't lower my guard. Who are you? The man raised both hands. My name is Lin Mu. I'm a mechanical engineer. My ship broke down. I've been drifting here for 2 days. Han Feng looked at me. A mechanical engineer? I looked at Lin Mu. Can you repair equipment? Yes. Engines, circuits, simple machinery. I can handle all of them. I didn't agree immediately. Why should I trust you? Lin Mu gave a bitter smile. Because if I wanted to hurt you, I wouldn't have appeared alone. And besides, he pointed at his own hands. I'm injured. Without tools, I won't survive much longer. I carefully observed him. While he was speaking, his eyes kept looking at my raft. There was no greed in his expression. Only shock. Your raft has been upgraded? Yes. How did you do it? Luck. Lin Mu smiled. Luck can only help once. The people who truly survive all have their own abilities. Those words made me view him slightly differently. In the end, I allowed him to join us. A 3-person team was officially formed. After Lin Mu joined, many things became much easier. After inspecting the raft structure, he immediately proposed several improvements. This area can be reinforced with support frames. This place can install a water storage system. And if we modify this section, we can increase movement speed. Han Feng couldn't help sighing after listening. Professionals really are different. Lin Mu shook his head. Before this, these things were ordinary. But now, anything that lets us survive one more day has value. That night, we finally arrived at the area where the energy fragments were located. It was a floating ruin. Broken metal structures emerged from the ocean. The system notifications kept flashing. Energy fragment detected. Rare materials detected. My heart moved. This place was far more valuable than I expected. But danger arrived at the same time. The ocean suddenly began churning. A huge shadow passed beneath the water. Lin Mu's expression changed. What is that? Han Feng tightened his grip on his weapon. I don't know. I stared at the ocean surface. The next second, a notification appeared. Mutated marine creature detected. Danger level, medium. I immediately gave an order. Everyone, move back. The moment I finished speaking, a massive column of water exploded into the sky. A creature several times larger than an ordinary shark burst from the ocean. It slammed into the ruins. The entire area shook violently. Han Feng nearly fell. Shinjin, what do we do? I quickly observed the surroundings. Fighting head-on was meaningless. Our equipment was too weak. But the system notification gave me an opportunity. Mutated creature weakness detected. Right side gills. I grabbed my tools. Lin Mu, Activate the equipment inside the ruins. Lin Mu stared at me. Can it still work? You have 3 minutes. You're crazy. Trust me. Lin Mu gritted his teeth. Then he turned and rushed toward the ruins. Han Feng was responsible for distracting the creature. I waited for the right moment. Time passed second by second. The mutated creature attacked again. Just as it was about to strike, Lin Mu shouted, "It's ready!" The abandoned equipment inside the ruins suddenly activated. A powerful electric current surged out. The seawater instantly became unstable. The mutated creature froze for a moment. I seized the opportunity. I rushed toward the energy fragment. Success. The system notification sounded. Obtained energy core fragment. Technology points awarded. Beginner technology manufacturing unlocked. At that moment, I understood. The thing that would truly change my fate had arrived. Not the raft. Not the resources. But technology. After returning to the raft, Lin Mu stared at the system interface with a complicated expression. Shinjin, if you continue developing at this speed, everyone in this ocean world will eventually follow you. I didn't answer, because I knew the real challenge had only just begun. At that moment, Zhao Tianxiong sent another message. This time, there was only one sentence. Shinjin, your luck has ended. I already know your location. I stared at those words. Slowly, I clenched my fist. It seemed someone was already impatient to test whether my little raft actually had the qualifications to survive. Zhao Tianxiong knew my location. That sentence felt like a thorn buried in my mind. But I didn't panic. At a truly dangerous moment, panic only exposed weaknesses faster. I immediately opened the system interface and checked the surrounding area. Ocean map function activated. Multiple unknown targets detected in current region. Threat source: Zhao Tianxiong's forces. The system notification ended. I stared at the several red marks appearing on the map. My brows tightened. Zhao Tianxiong's people were not far away. At their current speed, they would reach us within a few hours. Han Feng clenched his fists. Shinjin, what do we do? Run? Lin Mu shook his head. Our raft is too slow. If they really find us, we won't escape. He was right. Although our raft had been upgraded, it was still only at the basic stage. Against a force with ships and weapons, we had no advantage. But I had never planned to run. Who said we have to escape? Both of them looked at me. Han Feng was stunned. You mean? I looked at the distant floating ruins. They think we're just 3 survivors who got lucky. They think they can take our resources easily with their numbers and equipment. Then let them keep thinking that. Lin Mu looked confused. You want to set a trap? No. I shook my head. I want them to experience something for the first time. Weak things can also become dangerous. I opened the system interface. The technology points we had just obtained could unlock beginner manufacturing abilities. Several options appeared. Simple defense device, reinforced wooden structure, automatic collector, energy converter. I didn't hesitate. I chose to strengthen the raft first. The reason was simple. Survival came before everything else. The system began operating. Technology points consumed. Basic raft reinforcement beginning. As the notification appeared, the ordinary wooden structure began changing. The internal framework was rebuilt. Metal connectors appeared along the edges. A simple power interface emerged. Han Feng stared at the transformation. For a long time, he couldn't speak. This is no longer an ordinary raft. Lin Mu crouched down and examined the structure. This modification method. Even previous technology couldn't achieve this. I didn't explain. The system's existence was my greatest secret. No matter what happened, I could never reveal all my cards. That night, we didn't continue moving forward. Instead, we searched for a hidden location nearby. Lin Mu gave a suggestion. There is an abandoned platform here. We can hide our movements, but if they discover us, they can surround us completely. I nodded. Then we let them discover us. Han Feng looked at me. What exactly are you planning? I didn't answer. I simply began preparing. We placed some resources in an obvious location. Then we adjusted the direction of the raft. We created the illusion that we had escaped in a hurry. If Zhao Tianxiong's people approached, they would naturally assume we had just left. Meanwhile, the real raft was hidden on the other side. Early morning, lights appeared on the ocean. Several speedboats were approaching. Zhao Tianxiong's people had arrived. Han Feng whispered, 5 people. Their equipment is pretty good. Lin Mu looked carefully. They have weapons. I watched them silently. The leader held a communication device. Confirmed target location. It's here. The boss ordered us to capture the person named Shinjin, bring all his resources back. Several people stepped onto the abandoned platform. They began searching. One of them quickly discovered the supplies we had left behind. Found them. There's food and materials here. Looks like they only left recently. They didn't suspect anything, because everything matched their expectations. Just as they relaxed, I pressed the control button. The equipment on the abandoned platform suddenly activated. A violent mechanical noise echoed. The group immediately became alert. What's happening? The next second, the floating metal fragments around them began moving rapidly. They formed a simple blockade area. It wasn't meant to trap them. It was only meant to create confusion, taking advantage of the chaos. We activated the reinforced raft and quickly escaped. Han Feng looked back. He couldn't help laughing. They must be furious right now. I shook my head. This is only the first move. Zhao Tianxiong's real strength hasn't appeared yet. Sure enough, half an hour later, a voice came through the communication channel. Shinjin, you think you can escape like this? You underestimated me. Zhao Tianxiong's voice arrived. Deep, confident, filled with pressure. I opened the communication. For the first time, I responded to him. Zhao Tianxiong, what do you want? The other side laughed. Simple. Join me. Hand over your upgrade method. I can give you a position. You can become one of my people. After hearing that, I immediately ended the communication. Han Feng looked at me. You rejected him that quickly? Because he can't give me what I want. Lin Mu asked. Then what do you want? I looked ahead. Rules. I want to create the rules. When I said those words, even I felt a change inside myself. In the past, I was just an ordinary employee living in the city. Every day, I calculated my salary, my projects, other people's opinions of me. When my marriage failed, I thought I had lost everything. But after coming here, I realized something. The version of myself that had once been suppressed by life was beginning to grow again. I didn't need to prove anything to Su Wanning. I didn't need to prove anything to Zhou Kai. They had already become the past. This world only cared about one thing: strength. 3 days later, our raft upgraded again. The system unlocked new functions. Resource trading channel activated. Regional ranking activated. I opened the ranking list. First place, Zhao Tianxiong. Resource value, massive. Second place, unknown. Third place, Shinjin. Resource value, medium. Han Feng looked at the ranking. Third place is already unbelievable. But Lin Mu frowned. No, something is wrong. Why is Zhao Tianxiong always ranked first? I checked the data. Then I discovered a problem. Zhao Tianxiong's resource growth rate was unusually stable. It didn't look like normal collection. It looked more like continuous robbery. At that moment, a message appeared in the regional channel. Zhao Tianxiong has announced the establishment of the Ocean Alliance. All survivors must join. Alliance members will receive protection. Those who refuse will lose trading privileges. Han Feng's expression changed. He's beginning to control resource circulation. I nodded. Zhao Tianxiong wasn't simply trying to steal resources. He wanted to create his own order. And the first step of my development was to break that control. That night, the system suddenly issued a new mission. Large resource area detected. Mission objective: explore the deep sea ruins. Completion reward: advanced ship hull blueprint. I stared at the reward. Advanced ship hull blueprint. What did that mean? It meant I could finally leave the raft stage. I could own a real ship. Meanwhile, Zhao Tianxiong still believed I was just a small survivor waiting to be swallowed. I closed the system. Then I looked at Han Feng and Lin Mu. Prepared to leave? Han Feng asked. Where? I looked toward the deep ocean. To take our future. The next second, a new warning appeared on the global channel. Warning: unknown danger detected in deep sea regions. Probability of death for entrance is extremely high. Everyone fell silent. Everyone chose to stay away. Only I started the raft. Because I knew, if I wanted to become the ruler of the ocean, I had to go where others were afraid to go. The location of the deep sea ruins was extremely far from our current area. If it had been our previous broken raft, reaching it would have been impossible. But after continuous upgrades, my raft had completely changed. Although its appearance was still simple, its internal structure was completely different. The reinforced hull could withstand ordinary storms. The added power interface allowed us to stop relying only on human paddling. Lin Mu sat beside the equipment, constantly adjusting parameters. Shinjin, this system is strange. What part is strange? According to normal technological development, this energy conversion method is at least decades ahead of current technology. I glanced at him. As long as it works. Lin Mu gave a helpless smile. That's always your answer. Because knowing too much won't help us. He fell silent. After spending these days together, I realized Lin Mu was young. But he thought very maturely. Unlike many survivors who only wanted to steal resources, he cared more about how to use resources to create value. That was also why I decided to keep him. Beside us, Han Feng was checking the hull. Once we enter deep-sea territory, things will become much more complicated. When I worked in long-distance ocean transportation, I heard some rumors. There are places deep in the ocean where even large ships don't dare to approach. I asked, why? Han Feng stopped moving. Unknown. Ocean currents, magnetic fields, weather, and some things that cannot be explained. I looked toward the endless sea ahead. Unknown meant danger, but it also meant opportunity. Zhao Tianxiong controlled shallow ocean resources. Other survivors fought over ordinary supplies. The things that could truly create a gap between us must be hidden in places nobody dared. 2 days later, we entered the deep-sea region. The system map began changing. The clear resource markers gradually disappeared. In their place appeared countless unknown areas. Notifications continued appearing. Current area exploration level insufficient. High-value targets detected. Unknown dangers detected. I didn't slow down, because just moments ago, the system had detected the target. The deep-sea ruins. The distance was continuously decreasing. While we continued moving forward, the communication channel suddenly activated. A strange voice came through. Shinjin, finally found you. I frowned. It wasn't Zhao Tianxiong. Who are you? The other side laughed softly. Wei Qingcang. Have you heard of me? I remained silent. Han Feng's expression changed slightly. Wei Qingcang? Who is that? Another major faction leader. Han Feng lowered his voice. Someone even more troublesome than Zhao Tianxiong. The voice from the communication channel continued. Shinjin, your development speed surprised me. From a broken piece of wood to an upgraded vessel. That ability of yours is extremely rare. I replied calmly. What do you want? Cooperation. Wei Qingcang answered directly. The deep-sea region doesn't belong to you alone. Zhao Tianxiong is watching you. I can provide protection. I smiled slightly. What's the condition? Join my alliance. Share your technology. As expected, there was no free protection in this world. I ended the communication. A person like Wei Qingcang was more dangerous than Zhao Tianxiong. Zhao Tianxiong preferred direct robbery. Wei Qingcang preferred making people willingly hand over what he wanted. Different methods. Same goal. Control. Han Feng asked. By rejecting him, did we just create another enemy? I looked at the system map. From the moment we decided to upgrade, there was never a neutral option. The weak don't have the right to negotiate peace. Han Feng didn't argue, because reality was exactly like that. After several more hours of sailing, we finally arrived at the target area. There was nothing on the ocean surface, only calm water. Lin Mu looked confused. Did the system make a mistake? I shook my head. No. I activated the detection ability. The next second, a structure beneath the ocean appeared in my mind. Hidden deep below the sea was a massive metal building. Prepare to dive. Han Feng froze. Dive? We don't have diving equipment. I opened the system. A new manufacturing option appeared. Simple diving equipment. Required materials. I checked our inventory. We had just enough. A few minutes later, the system completed production. 3 sets of diving equipment appeared. Lin Mu stared at them. His expression became complicated. This kind of thing. You can just create it? Get used to it. He gave a bitter smile. Your secrets keep increasing. I didn't explain, because some things could only remain buried inside my heart. We entered the ocean. The deeper we went, the greater the pressure became. But the equipment created by the system kept us safe. Half an hour later, we saw the ruins. It was a massive metal base. Ocean creatures covered its surface. But its former technological level was still obvious. Han Feng touched the wall. This doesn't look like a modern structure. Lin Mu examined the material. The technology used here is extremely advanced. At least beyond what ordinary humans could create. I didn't answer, because the system had already provided the explanation. Ancient ocean civilization technology ruins detected. Advanced ship hull design data detected. Enter core area? I selected confirm. The entrance slowly opened. Inside were countless devices. and a special file. Super Battleship Development Project. Seeing those words, my breathing stopped for a moment. Super Battleship. What did that represent? The future. A future where I could truly leave the raft stage behind. A future where I could build a real force on the ocean. Just as we prepared to obtain the information, an alarm suddenly sounded. Intrusion detected. Defense system activated. Lin Mu's expression changed. There are still defenses here? The next second, the walls opened. Several mechanical devices emerged. Han Feng immediately raised his weapon. Shinjin. What do we do? I quickly analyzed the situation. These machines were not attack weapons. They looked more like guardians. A system notification appeared. Guardian program detected. Complete verification to obtain full authority. I walked toward the control console. How do we verify? The system displayed. Prove that you possess the qualifications to establish a new ocean civilization. I froze. What kind of requirement was this? The next moment, a question appeared on the console. When resources are limited, will you choose complete ownership or establish a sharing system? Lin Mu looked at me. Is this a test? I didn't answer immediately, because I understood. This question wasn't testing the answer. It was testing the logic behind the choice. If everything was shared completely, I wouldn't survive. If everything was controlled completely, I could never build a true civilization. I entered my answer. Control core resources. Establish rules. Allow capable people to participate. Let resources create greater value. A few seconds later, the ruins became silent. Then, the system notification appeared. Verification successful. Advanced ship hull blueprint obtained. Ocean technology database obtained. Large vessel manufacturing authority unlocked. At that moment, I knew my era had truly begun. Just as we left the ruins, the global channel suddenly displayed a new message. Zhao Tianxiong has issued a bounty. Anyone who provides Shinjin's location will receive massive resources. Immediately after, Wei Qingtsang released another announcement. Shinjin is invited to join the alliance. Those who refuse will bear the consequences. Two major forces moved at the same time. Everyone began focusing on one name. Shinjin, the man who started with a broken raft, had become a threat in their eyes. After returning to the ship, Han Feng looked at me. What do we do now? I opened the advanced ship hull blueprint. The new construction paths appeared. Large ocean base, deep-sea warship, mobile city. My goal had already changed. Before, I only wanted to survive. Now, I wanted to build a world that belonged to me on the ocean. To enter, after obtaining the advanced ship hull blueprint, I immediately began preparing for the next stage. The raft was no longer enough. The ocean was too vast. The dangers were too unpredictable. A person could survive on a raft, but only a powerful vessel could allow someone to truly control their own destiny. I opened the construction interface. The blueprint information appeared before my eyes. Advanced ship hull construction requirements. Steel materials. Energy core. High-level mechanical components. Ocean technology module. I checked our inventory. Wood was no longer our biggest problem. The real limitation was technology. Lin Mu studied the blueprint carefully. After a long time, he spoke. Shinjin, this isn't just a ship. I looked at him. What do you mean? He pointed at the design structure. This is closer to a mobile ocean base. It has independent energy systems, resource processing areas, defense systems, even long-term living facilities. Han Feng took a deep breath. Are you saying we can build a city on the ocean? Lin Mu nodded. If the blueprint is completed. Yes. I looked at the endless ocean. A city on the sea. That was something nobody had ever imagined. But now, it was within reach. The first thing I needed was resources. The system marked several high-value resource locations nearby. We changed direction. Our goal, the Steel Island. According to the system information, it was once a large industrial platform. After the ocean world appeared, it became abandoned, but inside were countless metal materials. For our current stage, it was exactly what we needed. However, we were not the only ones who discovered it. When we arrived near the Steel Island, another ship was already there. A huge battleship. The flag on it belonged to Zhao Tianxiong. Han Feng's expression changed immediately. They got here first. I looked at the ship. It was several times larger than ours. Weapons were installed on both sides. The difference in strength was obvious. A communication request appeared. I accepted. Zhao Tianxiong appeared on the screen. He looked older than before. His eyes were cold. Shinjin, we meet again. I remained calm. What do you want? He laughed. You still don't understand your situation. You have technology. I have people. You have potential. I have power. Why fight against me? I looked at his ship. Then I replied, because your idea of power is too small. His expression darkened. What did you say? You think controlling people means controlling the ocean. But you're wrong. The ocean is too big. One person cannot own everything. Zhao Tianxiong's eyes became colder. Then let me see how long your ideals can survive. The communication ended. Han Feng looked serious. Are we really going to fight? I shook my head. Not yet. Then what are we doing? I looked at the steel island. We're taking what we came for. Zhao Tianxiong's battleship blocked the front entrance. He obviously wanted to force us away. But he underestimated one thing. This was no longer the same broken raft from before. I opened the technology interface. Automatic collector activated. Energy conversion system activated. Temporary defense barrier activated. Lin Mu immediately understood. You prepared these functions before coming here. Yes. Because I knew someone would try to stop us. Han Feng smiled. You really think several steps ahead. I didn't answer. In this world, the winner was never the person with the strongest weapon. It was the person who prepared before the battle started. The battle began. Zhao Tianxiong's people approached in small boats. They planned to board our vessel. But the moment they got close, the defense system activated. A transparent energy barrier appeared. The attackers were pushed back. What is that? They have a shield? The enemy team became chaotic. At the same time, the automatic collector began operating. Metal materials from the steel island were transported toward us. Zhao Tianxiong watched everything through the communication channel. His expression changed. You hid this much technology? I looked at him. This is only the beginning. His face became extremely serious. For the first time, he realized something. The person he had treated as a weak survivor was already moving toward a completely different level. 30 minutes later, we successfully collected enough materials. The system notification appeared. Large vessel construction conditions fulfilled. Begin construction? I selected confirm. The ocean began shaking. The blueprint unfolded. The materials around the raft started combining. Metal structures, energy systems, mechanical components. Piece by piece, a huge ship structure began appearing. Han Feng stood there completely stunned. This is impossible. Lin Mu looked at the changing ship. His eyes were filled with excitement. No, it's not impossible. It's just a technology level humanity has never reached before. Hours later, the construction was completed. The small raft disappeared. Replacing it was a massive ocean vessel. It had multiple floors, independent energy supply, storage areas, production rooms, defense systems. The first true ocean base was born. The system notification sounded. Congratulations. You have entered the Ocean Civilization development stage. New title unlocked. Ocean Pioneer. I stood on the deck, looking at the ocean beneath my feet. Everything had changed. That night, the global channel exploded. Did someone build a giant ship? Who is it? Is that Shinjin? How is that possible? He started with the weakest raft. Zhao Tianxiong looked at the messages. His hands slowly tightened. Wei Qingcang also received the news. For the first time, both of them showed the same expression, concern, because they finally understood. Shinjin was no longer a survivor. He was becoming a force. The next morning, I received a new system mission. Ocean Civilization Expansion Mission activated. Build a complete ocean base. Recruit capable survivors. Establish a new ocean order. The reward: advanced civilization technology. I closed the mission panel, then looked at the people beside me. Han Feng, Lin Mu, two people who had followed me from the beginning. The future path had already become clear. The ocean was huge. The enemies were powerful. But my journey had just started. The rise of the ocean base after the first ocean vessel was completed. The biggest change was not the size of the ship. It was the change in people's perception. Before this, everyone believed survival meant finding enough resources every day. A bottle of water, a piece of food, a few pieces of wood. Every survivor was fighting alone. But the appearance of my ocean base changed everything. Because it proved one thing. A real civilization could exist on the ocean. 3 days later, our ocean base entered its first expansion stage. The system interface opened. Ocean base functions unlocked. Resource processing center, energy production room, living area, defense system, Recruitment module. Looking at the new functions, I understood the next step. A ship could carry people, but only a base could gather people. If I wanted to create a new ocean civilization, I needed more than technology. I needed people. The first survivor who contacted us was a young woman. Her name was Yi Qing. She arrived alone on a damaged small boat. When she saw the huge ocean base behind us, she stood there for a long time. Is this yours? I nodded. She looked around. This is impossible. A few weeks ago, everyone was struggling to survive. Now someone has built a city on the sea. I asked, what can you do? She answered immediately. I'm a medical researcher. I can treat injuries and develop basic medicines. I looked at the system evaluation. Survivability assessment. Excellent. I accepted her request to join. The moment she entered the base, the system notification appeared. New professional survivor recruited. Medical department unlocked. I realized something. The system wasn't only rewarding resources. It was rewarding civilization itself. People with different abilities were the true foundation of a powerful force. After Yi Qing joined, more survivors began contacting us. Some were engineers, some were technicians, some were farmers, some were former sailors. They all had one question. Can we join your ocean base? I gave the same answer every time. Yes, but there are rules. The survivors were surprised. What rules? I looked at them. Everyone contributes. Everyone receives protection. Resources belong to the base. But the value created by each person will be rewarded. This is not a place where someone takes everything from others. It is a place where everyone builds something together. Some people hesitated, because they had lived too long under fear. They were used to survival through stealing, but after seeing the stable environment of the ocean base, many survivors chose to stay. Within 1 month, the population of the base reached 100 people. At the same time, Zhao Tianxiong's alliance began to collapse. The reason was simple. His system was based on fear. When everyone was weak, fear was effective. But once people saw another choice, fear lost its power. Messages began appearing in the global channel. Is Zhao Tianxiong still forcing people to hand over resources? I heard Xinjian's base actually distributes supplies. People there don't have to worry about attacks. Should we leave the alliance? The foundation Zhao Tianxiong had built began shaking. Inside Zhao Tianxiong's battleship, the atmosphere was extremely tense. A subordinate stood in front of him. Boss, more survivors are leaving. Several resource teams have stopped following our orders. Zhao Tianxiong remained silent. After a long time, he smashed the cup in his hand. Xinjian, I underestimated you. The person beside him asked. What should we do? Zhao Tianxiong's eyes became cold. If we cannot control him, then destroy him. At the same time, Wei Qingtsang received the same information. Unlike Zhao Tianxiong, he did not become angry. Instead, he smiled. Interesting. A person who started with nothing has actually created a new system. His subordinate asked. Should we attack him? Wei Qingtsang shook his head. Not yet. Xinjian's greatest strength is not his technology. It is that people believe in him. To defeat someone like that, you cannot only destroy his ship, you must destroy his foundation. 1 week later, the ocean world received a shocking announcement. Zhao Tianxiong and Wei Qingtsang have formed a temporary alliance. The two major forces will jointly establish the Ocean Federation. All independent bases must register. Unauthorized forces will be considered enemies. The entire ocean became silent. Everyone understood. A war was coming. Inside the command room of the ocean base, Han Feng looked at the message. They finally joined together. Lin Mu analyzed the data. 2 major forces. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of survivors. Our numbers are much smaller. Yi Qing looked worried. Can we win? The room became quiet. Everyone looked at me. I stared at the ocean map. The enemy was powerful. The difference in numbers was obvious. But I did not feel fear. Because from the beginning, I had never relied only on numbers. I relied on development, technology, strategy, and the ability to create something others could not. I opened the system. A new option appeared. Ocean Civilization Technology Tree. Below it were countless technologies. Advanced Energy System. Artificial Intelligence Assistant. Ocean Defense Network. Large Warship Manufacturing. Deep Sea Exploration Technology. I looked at the final lock technology. Ocean Civilization Core. The description appeared. The foundation of a true ocean civilization. I smiled. Looks like it's time to enter the next stage. That night, The entire ocean base began operating at full speed. Factories worked continuously. Engineers studied new technology. Survivors gathered resources. Everyone knew the coming battle would decide the future of the ocean. Would the ocean belong to those who controlled others? Or those who built something new? 3 days later, the enemy fleet appeared. Countless ships covered the horizon. The flags of Zhao Tianxiong and Wei Qingsang flew together. A message arrived. Shinjin, this is your last chance. Open your base. Hand over your technology. Submit to the Ocean Federation. I stood on the highest deck of the ocean base, looking at the approaching fleet. I pressed the communication button. My answer is simple. No. The entire ocean became silent. Then I continued. You want to control the ocean, but I want to change it. Let's see whose path is correct. The first ocean war, the enemy fleet approached slowly. Thousands of ships moved across the ocean. The waves were pushed aside by countless engines. The entire sea seemed to tremble. On the command deck of the ocean base, everyone was watching the approaching fleet. A survivor whispered, "Is this the power of the Ocean Federation?" Another person clenched his fists. "They have too many ships. Can we really win?" Fear began spreading. It was normal, because this was the first time many people had faced a true war. But I remained calm. A commander's greatest responsibility was not eliminating fear. It was giving people a reason to believe. I looked at everyone. Remember one thing. The enemy has more ships, but we have something they don't. A survivor asked. What? I looked at the huge ocean base beneath our feet. A future. The enemy fleet stopped. Zhao Tianxiong's flagship moved to the front. His voice spread through the communication channel. Shinjin, you still refuse to surrender? I looked at him through the screen. You already know my answer. Zhao Tianxiong sneered. You think a few advanced technologies can change everything? You have fewer people, fewer ships, fewer weapons. Your so-called civilization is just a dream. I calmly replied. Every civilization starts as a dream. The difference is whether someone can turn that dream into reality. Zhao Tianxiong's expression became cold. Attack. The next second, the entire enemy fleet moved. The first wave consisted of small assault ships. Their purpose was simple. Break through the defense line. Destroy the outer structure. Force the ocean base into chaos. But before they entered attack range, the ocean suddenly lit up. Countless energy signals appeared around the base. Lin Mu shouted from the control room. Defense network activated. A huge energy barrier expanded. The enemy ships crashed into it. Boom! 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 The entire ocean shook. The enemy fleet stopped. For the first time, their expressions changed. A soldier on Zhao Tianxiong's ship shouted, Impossible! They blocked the attack? Inside the command room, Lin Mu stared at the data. The energy consumption is high, but the defense system is working. I nodded. Start the second system. Lin Mu froze. Are you sure? Yes. The battle has just started. The next moment, the ocean base's core system activated. A cold mechanical voice echoed. Artificial Intelligence Assistance System activated. Ocean Civilization Core online. Everyone became silent. A blue holographic image appeared. Greetings, Commander Shinjin. I am Ocean Civilization Artificial Intelligence. Current battle analysis completed. Enemy weaknesses detected. I looked at the holographic image. What is the result? The AI responded immediately. Enemy fleet appears powerful, but internal cooperation efficiency is low. Reason: temporary alliance, different objectives, insufficient trust. I smiled. Exactly as I expected. On Zhao Tianxiong's flagship, the situation was completely different. Why are we waiting? A commander shouted. We should attack directly. Wei Qingseng's people immediately disagreed. Your ships are only consuming resources. We need to wait until their defense system weakens. Zhao Tianxiong frowned. This is not the time to argue. But the problem had already appeared. The alliance looked powerful from the outside. Inside, everyone had their own plans. Zhao Tianxiong wanted to destroy Shinjin completely. Wei Qingseng wanted to obtain his technology. Neither side truly trusted the other. I looked at the battlefield information. AI, give me the best strategy. The artificial intelligence responded. Recommendation: do not engage the main fleet directly. Separate the enemy alliance. Attack the weakest connection point. I immediately understood. The strongest enemy was not always the most dangerous. Sometimes, the biggest weakness was hidden inside the strongest appearance. Prepare the fast assault team. Han Feng immediately stood up. I'll lead it. I shook my head. No. Everyone looked at me. This time, I will go. Han Feng was surprised. You're the commander. That's why I have to go. A civilization is not built by someone hiding behind others. The assault ship left the ocean base. Only a small team followed me. Our target, the supply fleet behind the enemy formation. The reason was simple. A large fleet required huge amounts of resources. Destroy the supply line, and the entire fleet would lose its ability to continue fighting. As we approached, the enemy detected us. Small target detected. Only one assault ship. Should we intercept? The enemy commander laughed. They're desperate. Destroy them. Several enemy ships turned around. But they didn't know. This was exactly what we wanted. The moment they left the main formation, the AI sent a notification. Enemy formation separation successful. Now, I gave the order. The hidden defense weapons activated. The ocean base launched long-range attacks. At the same time, our assault ship accelerated. We entered the enemy supply area. Inside the supply fleet, everyone was shocked. How did they get here? Impossible. I walked into the control room. Looking at the enemy resources, I pressed the collection command. Resource transfer initiated. The system began absorbing materials. The enemy commander shouted, "Stop them!" But it was already too late. We had achieved our objective. When the news reached Zhao Tianxiong, his face changed completely. What? They attacked our supply fleet? Yes. And they stole our resources? Silence filled the command room. For the first time, Zhao Tianxiong realized something. The battle was not developing according to his plan. Xinjin was not fighting like a survivor. He was fighting like a commander. Wei Qingceng looked at the battle report. After a long silence, he smiled. Interesting. Very interesting. His subordinate asked, "Are you still planning to capture him?" Wei Qingceng shook his head. No. Now I understand. Xinjin is not someone we can simply control. He is someone who creates a new era. The first battle continued. The enemy fleet was still huge. The war was far from over. But after this attack, everyone understood one thing. The ocean had changed. The person who started with a broken raft was now standing against the strongest forces in the world. And this was only the beginning. The birth of a new ocean era. The first battle of the ocean war ended temporarily. Although Zhao Tianxiong and Wei Qingceng's combined fleet still had a huge advantage in numbers, their confidence had disappeared. Because everyone had witnessed the same thing. Xinjin was not fighting for survival anymore. He was fighting for control of the future. After returning to the ocean base, the first thing I did was analyze the battle data. The AI system displayed the results. Battle analysis completed. Enemy fleet strength high. Enemy cooperation efficiency low. Victory probability calculation updated. Current probability 62%. Han Feng looked surprised. 62%? That's already higher than before. Lin Mu looked at the data carefully. The AI calculated that their alliance itself is the biggest weakness. I nodded. Because they are together only because of fear. Once the fear disappears, the alliance will collapse. Yiqing looked at the ocean map. But they still have many ships. We cannot rely only on strategy. She was right. Strategy could win a battle, but technology and production capacity determined the outcome of a war. I opened the ocean civilization technology tree. A new branch appeared. Civilization development level. 2 available technologies. Advanced energy reactor. Automated production line. Ocean communication network. Deep-sea resource mining system. I looked at the options, then selected them one by one. The future battle would not be decided by how many ships we had today. It would be decided by how fast we could create tomorrow's power. 3 days passed. The ocean base entered a period of rapid development. The production center began operating. The energy reactor was completed. The resource processing system started running. More survivors joined. Engineers, researchers, navigation experts. Every person brought a different ability, and every ability strengthened the foundation of the ocean civilization. The base was changing every day. What used to be a simple ship was becoming a true floating city. At the same time, the situation inside the Ocean Federation began changing. Zhao Tianxiong's flagship command room. The atmosphere was tense. We lost another resource point. The survivors in 3 regions have stopped obeying our orders. Several small factions have contacted Xinjin. The reports continued. Zhao Tianxiong's expression became darker. A commander beside him said, "Maybe we should change our strategy. Stop fighting Xinjin directly. First stabilize our own alliance." Zhao Tianxiong looked at him. Are you questioning my decision? The commander lowered his head. I'm only saying that Shinjin is different from ordinary survivors. He doesn't only have technology, he has people willing to follow him. These words made the room silent, because everyone knew this was the biggest difference. On the other side, Wei Qingtsung was also making his own calculations. His intelligence team delivered a report. Shinjin's ocean-based population has exceeded 500. Technology development speed continues increasing. His influence is expanding. Wei Qingtsung looked at the report. After a long silence, he asked, "What happens if he wins?" The subordinate hesitated. "Then he will become the strongest force in the ocean." Wei Qingtsung smiled. "Interesting. Maybe we created a bigger opponent than expected." That night, I received a private communication request. The sender was Wei Qingtsung. I accepted. His figure appeared on the screen. "Shinjin, it has been a long time." I looked at him. "What do you want?" Wei Qingtsung smiled. "To discuss cooperation." I said nothing. He continued, "Zhao Tianxiong only understands destruction. He wants to eliminate you. But I understand something different." "What?" "You are creating something new." I remained silent, because I knew there was always a price behind such words. Wei Qingtsung continued, "Join me. Together, we can control the entire ocean." I shook my head. "No." His expression changed slightly. "Why?" "Because you still think the ocean belongs to someone." I looked at him. "My goal is not to become the next ruler. My goal is to create a system where nobody needs a ruler like you." The communication ended. The next morning, the AI system suddenly issued a warning. High-level energy fluctuation detected. Unknown civilization technology signal detected. I immediately opened the map. A new location appeared. Deep ocean region. Unknown coordinates. Lin Mu looked at the information. "This signal. It's stronger than the previous ruins." Han Feng frowned. "Another ancient civilization?" The AI responded. "Possibility. 87%. Additional information detected. Target may contain ocean civilization core technology." The entire command room became quiet. Ocean civilization core. The technology that could completely change the future. I knew what this meant. The war with Zhao Tianxiong and Wei Qingtsung was only the battle for the present. The true future was hidden deeper in the ocean. I made a decision immediately. Prepare the exploration fleet. Han Feng looked surprised. "Right now?" "Yes. But the enemy fleet is still nearby." I looked at the ocean map. "Exactly because they are nearby. We need something that can completely change the balance." Lin Mu understood. "You want to obtain the civilization core before they can stop us." I nodded. "Yes." The exploration fleet departed. For the first time, the ocean base moved toward the deepest unknown area. As we entered the forbidden waters, the environment began changing. The waves became unstable. The compass stopped working. Even the AI system showed interference. Warning: unknown energy field detected. Communication ability decreasing. Everyone became nervous, but I continued forward, because every great change in history came from someone entering a place others feared. 3 hours later, we discovered something beneath the ocean. A massive structure, bigger than the previous ruins, older, more mysterious. The system notification appeared. Ancient Ocean Civilization Core detected. Access permission required. I moved toward the entrance. The moment my hand touched the control panel, the entire ocean shook. A voice from ancient times echoed. "Civilization successor detected. Testing begins." A series of images appeared. Wars, disasters, civilizations rising and falling. Then the final question appeared. "What is the purpose of civilization?" Everyone looked at me. I stared at the question. After several seconds, I entered my answer. Not survival, not domination, but creating a future where more people can survive. The entire structure became silent. Then, the system notification appeared. Verification passed. Ocean Civilization Core unlocked. At that moment, the entire ocean world changed. The Ocean Civilization Core. The moment the Ocean Civilization Core was activated, the entire ancient structure came back to life. Countless lights appeared in the darkness. The abandoned machines began operating again. The massive underground facility slowly awakened after thousands of years of silence. The AI system connected with the core. A new notification appeared. Ocean Civilization Core successfully integrated. Civilization Authority upgraded. New technology permissions unlocked. I looked at the interface. The changes were beyond imagination. New technology available. Planetary Ocean Energy System. advanced artificial intelligence evolution, super ship manufacturing technology, ocean ecological reconstruction system, civilization defense network. Lin Mu stared at the holographic screen. His hands were trembling. This is no longer just technology. This is an entire civilization's inheritance. Han Feng looked around the ancient facility. So the legends were real. There really was another civilization before us. I nodded, but I focused on something else. The technology was important. The inheritance was important. But the most important thing was what we would do with this power, because power itself had no meaning. The person controlling it decided whether it became hope or destruction. After returning to the ocean base, the first thing I did was upgrade the civilization system. The entire base began changing. The original energy system was replaced. The production efficiency increased several times. The AI became more intelligent. The defense network expanded. The ocean base was no longer just a ship. It had become a true civilization center. The survivors watched the changes with excitement. Someone said, "We actually built this." Another person replied, "This feels like a dream." But I knew this was only the beginning. At the same time, the news of the ocean civilization core spread. Although the exact details were unknown, the energy fluctuations had been detected by every major force. Inside Zhao Tianxiong's command room, the atmosphere became extremely heavy. A subordinate reported, "Xinjin has obtained something from the deep ocean. We cannot determine what it is, but his technology level has increased dramatically." Zhao Tianxiong remained silent. After a long time, he asked, "Can we still defeat him?" Nobody answered. Because everyone already knew the answer. Before this, they thought Xinjin was dangerous because of his technology. Now, they realized something even more frightening. Xinjin's growth had no limit. Zhao Tianxiong finally made his decision. Prepare the final attack. The commanders looked shocked. "Boss, if we lose this battle," Zhao Tianxiong interrupted, "there is no second choice. Either Xinjin disappears, or we disappear." His eyes became cold. This ocean only needs one ruler. At the same time, Wei Qingcang received the same battle plan. But unlike Zhao Tianxiong, he hesitated. His assistant asked, "Are we really going to participate?" Wei Qingcang looked at the ocean outside. After a long silence, he said, "Do you know what the difference is between Xinjin and Zhao Tianxiong?" The assistant shook his head. "Zhao Tianxiong wants everyone to depend on him. Xinjin wants everyone to become stronger." Wei Qingcang smiled faintly. "Those are two completely different futures." 3 days later, the final battle began. The largest fleet ever assembled appeared on the ocean. Zhao Tianxiong's ships, Wei Qingcang's forces, thousands of weapons, countless survivors. They surrounded the ocean base. The entire world was watching. Everyone knew this battle would determine the future of the ocean. Inside the ocean base command room, the AI gave the final analysis. Enemy fleet detected. Combat strength extremely high. Recommended strategy: activate civilization defense network. I looked at the battlefield. Activate. The next second, the ocean changed. Countless energy pillars rose from the sea. The civilization defense network connected every part of the base. The surrounding waters became a controlled zone. Enemy ships slowed down. Their communication systems were disrupted. Their navigation systems began failing. The enemy fleet fell into chaos. Zhao Tianxiong stared at the battlefield. His face changed. "What is happening?" A commander shouted. "Our systems are being interfered with. Our ships cannot coordinate. How is this possible?" Zhao Tianxiong clenched his fists. "This is not a battle anymore. This is technology suppression." The first attack began. The enemy fleet launched everything they had: missiles, energy weapons, assault ships. The ocean shook violently. But the civilization defense network blocked attack after attack. At the same time, our production system continued operating. New ships were created. New weapons were deployed. New energy systems came online. The longer the battle continued, the stronger we became. That was the true power of civilization. During the battle, I received a communication request. The sender, Wei Qingcang. I accepted. His expression was complicated. "Xinjin, the battle is almost decided." I looked at him. "Then why contact me?" He was silent. After several seconds, he said, "I want to withdraw." Han Feng looked surprised. "Withdraw?" Wei Qingcang nodded. "I finally understand. Trying to control the ocean is the wrong path. The ocean is too large. No single person can own it." I asked, "What changed your mind?" He looked at the battlefield. Because I saw something. What? A future. Wei Qingtsang gave up his attack. His fleet stopped. The balance of the battle completely changed. Without his support, Zhao Tianxiong's forces collapsed rapidly. The final defense line was broken. His flagship became surrounded. I contacted Zhao Tianxiong. For the last time, the screen showed his exhausted face. Shinjin, you won. I looked at him. No. You lost because you believed power meant control. The ocean never belonged to anyone. Zhao Tianxiong laughed bitterly. Then what does it belong to? I answered. Those who build it. The communication ended. The final battle was over. The Ocean Federation collapsed. The era of forced control ended. But the story of the ocean civilization had only just begun. 1 month later, the first official Ocean Civilization Conference was held. Representatives from different bases gathered together. They discussed resources, technology, exploration, future development. There was no emperor, no absolute ruler, only a system created by everyone. I stood on the highest deck of the ocean base, looking at the endless ocean. Months ago, I was a man who lost everything. My marriage, my career, my old life. I thought my story had ended, but the ocean gave me another beginning. A broken raft, a few pieces of wood, a desperate struggle for survival. That was where everything started. The AI system delivered the final notification. Ocean civilization established. Civilization development mission completed. Final evaluation. Survivor pioneer founder. I looked toward the horizon. The ocean was still endless. There were still countless mysteries waiting to be discovered. But this time, I was no longer drifting alone. Because we had created something greater. A civilization. A future. An era that belonged to the ocean.